Let's call the September 12th City Council meeting to order. Let's start with our pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming tonight. First item on the agenda would be to approve the August 22nd, 2022 regular City Council minutes.
I'll make that
Motion
motion.
is made by Kyle,
I'll second it.
seconded by Donnie, and we have Jackie online. So motion made by Kyle, seconded by Donnie to approve the minutes from the August 22nd meeting. All in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Any additions to the agenda?
Have one item that planning and zoning sent out an email.
Yep.
And then also we bring up
When do you want to bring that up, Bob?
we can do that again.
After fire department hiring? Okay. Minnesota Historical Society? Morrison County Historical Society.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition to Morrison County Historical Society and the extra planning and zoning permit.
And I would like to also add that I have a couple of just FYI items. So motion's been made to approve the agenda with the additions. But motion made by Donnie, seconded by?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jackie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Planning and zoning building permit applications, and we have a few. Mr. Jim Gerwig takes center stage.
Okay, we have a concrete permit by F&M Bank to replace the parking lot and make a patio over towards the church. East end there, and a sidewalk over to the stairway that goes from the church parking lot. We approve that. And then we have a concrete permit by Fred Underhill, 401 Ronald Avenue, to make a 25 foot by 70 foot cement driveway and shed out on Carter Street. It's gravel now. From the apron over to the street. We approve that permit. Then there's a concrete permit by Sean Jensen / Hartman Store, 105 Third Avenue West, to replace a 15 foot approximately by 70 foot apron north of the closet they got over there. And we don't have any problem with that one either. Then there's a concrete permit by Kathy Baxter, 105 Summer Street, to replace a 17 foot by 30 foot driveway to the alley from the garage that's behind their house. It was just a gravel patch now, it's just hard. Don't have any issue with that. Then a building permit by Pierz Ballpark, besides Dave Fisher, to replace and remove a third base dugout, to improve the sight lines in the Legion Ballpark. We approve that permit also. Then a building permit by Mark Bednar, 214 Third Avenue Northeast, to add an additional stall to the south side of the shop, and then put a 16 by 16 foot concrete pad on the east side of that stall, and actually pad of the other stalls that are there. And we approve that permit also. Then Chad Feasing, the building permit, 106 Fourth Avenue Southeast. That's right directly across from Sunrise Ag with Pierz Co-op, straight south of us there. He wants to make an RV carport made out of wood framing and steel walls and built with a concrete slab underneath it. And we approve that also. And then, something else on the other page. Well, there was a building permit by Tracy Gibson for 310 Third Avenue Northwest, Lot 37. That's trailer park. Wants to move in a 14-foot by 56-foot pre-1978 trailer house. I spoke with Dave Barsodi on that because there's a date which was HUD started, had a code for the house that we made was a code after 1976, he said. So that would be 2 years prior to this. And so he called Tracy Gibson, and he was told that it's tag on the trailer home says it's 1976. So it just slips in under the wire. Because if it was earlier than that, we wouldn't have approved it, and he wouldn't approve it. He said he told them it's coming from the draft or someplace up there, and he didn't want to go look at it first to see if he would approve it at all. So he didn't want to drive up there and do that. But he talked to him and told him what he looks for, and they said that they thought they could fix it up to make it match the code. So he said we could approve it on the condition that he approves that it's on the code when it gets here. The inspection gets here. So we approved it on that condition, that he approves that it's up to code. It's getting pretty old, but there's not much we can do for it if it's, once it passes that 1976. And then the last one that Bob mentioned that just came in was Larry Jutton at 106 Park Avenue. That's right behind Frosty's there. Wants to replace a 26 by 35-foot driveway to Katzner Street. And we have no problem with that. So those are the 9 permits.
Any questions on any of those?
Thanks, Jim.
I'll make the motion to accept the planning and zoning building permits.
Motion's made by Donnie to accept the planning and zoning building permit request, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Jackie. All in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Brings us to the 2023 preliminary levy. At our workshop, we had a discussion on the preliminary levy. We had talked about from 3, and a couple of people mentioned 5%. What we looked at was the fact that we are not balancing our general fund. We have been stealing, or borrowing, I should say, from our enterprise funds to support the general fund, and the concept of eventually someday we want to get to the point where we're balancing the general fund through the levy. However, with this year being a year when a lot of property taxes assessments went up much, much higher. Most assessments went up anywhere between 20 and 30%. I think with the additional assessment and the additional hit, I would recommend that we stay with the 3% also. With the other additional thing that's going to with 3%, if your property had not been reassessed at a higher value, we'd be lowering your taxes considerably. But with the assessed, you got to take into account the assessed value has risen, and there's other, the county and the school also have their assessments out there. So, I mean, anybody else, any thoughts? I am recommending we set our preliminary levy at 3%. And I know you had indicated you were okay with that, Donnie?
Yep.
Sorry, let Jackie, go ahead.
I said I'm good with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kyle?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay. I would entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to set the preliminary levy at 3%.
Motion's been made by Jackie to set the preliminary levy at 3%. Seconded by?
I'll second.
Seconded by Kyle. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? carried unanimously, which walks us right to the 2023 preliminary budget. We did review that also at our workshop. Does anybody have any questions on that budget? Now, the budget can change as we go, as we know. So the next thing is to set truth and taxation. But is there any thoughts on the budget? Or, or questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the budget, preliminary budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary budget.
Motion to approve the preliminary budget is made by Jackie, seconded by?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Donnie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Then we need to set truth and taxation, 2023 final budget and final levy public hearing. That would be December 12th at December 12th, 2022. And what we've been doing is we open up our meeting and then we would go right into that. So technically it's on here at 7 p.m., but it would be about 7:01. So, any questions on that or thoughts on that? If not, I would entertain a motion to,
I'll make that motion to set the date.
motion's been made by Lynn, to set the truth and taxation for the 23 final budget and levy public hearing for December 12th, 2022 at 7 p.m. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Street improvements. I'm going to turn that over to Jared. Street and utility improvements, design and bidding, and then we'll talk about the street lighting and study. Go.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. In your packet tonight are two proposals that we're looking for a motion for approval on. The first being the 2024 street improvements design and bid proposal. This proposal is for the piece of legislation that was presented on July 18th to city staff. And also was presented to RIPSA on August 10th. This project will consist of street, storm, sanitary, water main, and sidewalk improvements. With one caveat to the feasibility report that was presented, there was some comments we got back from city staff, I believe on the 1st of September, that we bring this and have updated our proposal to reflect those changes. Basically, those changes are removing the north sector of that project, and then Oak Street and the south, and 2/3 of Vince Park that is getting utility reconstruction on. So, including this design and bid proposal is our services for topographic survey, construction plans and specs, bidding services, up to, I think we have a 60% and 90% design staff meeting. The neighborhood informational meeting, and 2 improvement hearings, one for city and one for ourselves. Our goal is for the bidding to occur in December of 2023, January of 2024. And our lump sum fee for this design and bid services is $240,000, and that includes expenses and equipment. Any questions on the 2024 street design and bidding services?
Yeah, Jared, maybe we need to update everybody. We did have a joint meeting with the Public Works Department on the council, which was Donnie, I, and Bob. We met with some RIPSA board members and Mr. Gruber, the RIPSA superintendent, and we went through what their priorities were and what our priorities were, and we came up with the new proposal of the streets that we're going to do. And they are very simply Summer Street, Peter Avenue, First Avenue, and
Sorry, so it would be Summer Street, First Avenue Southwest, First Avenue
Yes.
Cedar Avenue and Vincent Street.
Yeah, and the north part of Vincent that comes down to where the sidewalk and the curb and gutter stop. Or shortly past that, yeah,
Past that,
yeah.
Where the existing sanitary and water main, where the existing sanitary sewer ends.
Right. Yeah, and that project's is now coming in roughly a little over 3 million, right? And that's coming in a little over 3.
I thought I heard a B there.
No, 3 for us.
All right.
Besides the rips up portion.
For the city, it looks like, well, if you want to include the street
Yeah,
lighting, then yes.
yeah, it's about 3, then the city and the, no, I mean, the street lighting and the electrical. Yeah. So, okay.
All right. Any other questions on design and bid services? All right. Moving on to the second proposal. This is for a feasibility study for street lighting improvements along the same corridor. The street lighting wasn't included in that original feasibility study, so that's why there's this second proposal for feasibility study for the street lighting improvements. Like I said, the same segments, minus we are one of the assumption that Cassie Ave will not be in, I assume that's
Correct.
correct. But for this proposal, we will be preparing lighting layouts with 3 different scenarios, good, better, best. Very similar to what we did for the Third Avenue project, I guess. For this, we're thinking the schedule for this one would be 90 days after approval for completion of that feasibility study. And our lump sum fee for this proposal is $5,000, including expenses and everything. Any questions on this feasibility study?
Okay. So we're looking for a motion to approve those 2 for SEH to move forward on those 2
And
proposals?
these are streets we have to totally redo.
Yeah.
There's no other options.
Yeah, a lot of these streets don't have storm sewer. They don't have the current curb and gutter. We're fixing drainage problems that have been there since the
So
street
this
has
would be curb,
existed.
gutter, all of it. Is what
Curb,
we're
gutter.
talking about doing.
Sidewalks on some portions
Yes,
of them,
full reconstruct.
full reconstruct, including water, sewer, whatever is underneath those streets.
Because I know we talked about maybe backing off on some of that.
We backed off of the north end. We're not doing the north end.
Yep.
We backed off on the southern half of Vincent.
Those were the only 2 that we took off.
We took.
We could
and
spend some
took,
time on page 57 of the packet. That might be helpful.
We
If we
took
want
off
to look at those streets.
Oak Street as well.
Feasibility
Oh,
study that we
okay.
presented on the 18th there. You want me to show you, like, the
Yeah,
figures?
please.
Okay.
Thank you.
What was eliminated and
I
what was?
just what was eliminated.
Yeah, yeah. So, north sector.
Yep.
All of that is on away.
Yep.
The west is staying the same minus this stretch of Vincent is all going away.
Okay.
The east is
We took
First
off-
and Peter and.
We took off Oak.
Vincent Street was a big issue for Rich Prairie Sewer and Water, and it's not a real high priority for us, but it was a big priority for them.
The north part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we look at Vincent Street. We may have to look at doing an overlay on the southern part of Vincent in the next year or 2. I don't know if that'll make it another 5 or 6 years, depending on what it is that we come back and do the north part. The north end, trust me, is still bad. It still has problems. What we kind of did is we spent a lot of time looking at what the city could afford, what kind of payments we could make on that bond, and this is what we came up with. We're very comfortable that we have the we can make those payments if we bond for the entire project right now.
And what are we thinking our bond payments would be, Dave?
Looked like
Approximately.
like 262.
Yeah, about
Yep.
260
Yeah.
something.
At the right page.
Page 57 of the packet kind of lays out our bond and then how we would pay for it.
57, you said?
Yeah, 57 is actually pretty good.
The beauty of that, even we dip into our electric account, but we'd still leave a lot in our electric account to still make that sustainable as well.
Is that in here? Got it. That's why I didn't see it. It was in the packet part. It was under the fight. That's why. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is this basically we're moving forward with this entire project, or this would just be kind of what are you moving forward with exactly?
step.
Yeah, and this would be for the design, bidding, and our proposal services.
Okay.
After bidding, things don't come in according to plan, then we always have choice to use that.
Right, right.
There'll be a separate construction proposal put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, the topo has to get done.
This, you want to do the topo yet this fall?
Yeah, the schedule we presented with that feasibility study would be that you would have this fall/winter to do that topo. That'd be ideal for us to start down the design next, I guess, winter/spring.
Any further questions?
Well, it sounds like at least at some point we got to do a lot of the work that they're going to do, right? If we're going to do any sort of work on these roads,
Yeah.
it sounds like we have to.
And all of these roads are roads that were pushed back from before 2016, 2018. I don't know if we can push them back anymore. I mean, we can say we don't have the money, we have to bond for it, but we have to fix these roads sooner or later. They're getting to the point where we can't patch them anymore. So,
And another thing that I forgot to mention is that 245,000, that is total design. So that's with the assumption that there will be a cost share agreement between the city and Woodstock.
yeah,
So
That
full
amount
isn't
is not ours.
100% city, no.
right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So what kind of split is there on that?
Typically, it's based off of construction costs, or, our estimate. Right now, our estimate's sitting at 68% city, 32 Woodstock.
Gotcha.
But that's just a starting point.
Yep.
Does Ripsaw also have to approve this as well, and then you can
Their
move forward?
meeting is
Right.
Wednesday.
RIPSA will meet Wednesday night, and they will either approve or not approve as well, yeah.
Okay.
But RIPSA's pretty much, these are things they need to get done. They have issues with them as well, so. It's not like it's not like they're jumping in and doing this just for the heck of it. They have, one issue they have, and it's not going to cover everything, but there's a new law coming into place on clay pipe. All clay piping is going to have to be removed in a certain amount of time. And I don't know if we all know the details of it yet. They haven't really given us that. But we'll have other streets that have clay piping under them yet. So goes back to how old some of the infrastructure is. So,
Yeah, with all of the sanitary sewer that we are replacing,
yeah.
the water main's also pretty original cast iron.
So, any other questions on this? All right, so I will look for a motion to approve moving ahead with the street and utility improvements, design and bidding.
I'll make the motion.
Mo-
Or give it,
Are you seconding it, Jackie?
yep.
Motion's been made by Donnie, seconded by Jackie to approve the 2024 street and utility improvements, design and bidding. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. And then the 2024 street and utility improvements, street lighting study. Motion on that.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made by Kyle, seconded by Jackie. All in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. And then I just want to add to that, Bob, you are working with Minnesota Power to get a electric assessment as well, correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna have Dean Witt from Minnesota Power go through those streets and then analyze what it would cost to upgrade everything to underground. And then we'll analyze that with the Public Works Electric Department and then committee and go from there. Part of our thoughts, going back to Third Avenue even, is when we do a reconstruction on these streets is to upgrade the electric at the same time. It kind of does two things. It upgrades our infrastructure and then it also provides aesthetics and it also gives us a better product at the end of the day. So eventually all of our poles, transformers and wires are going to need to be replaced anyway.
Yeah.
So this is a good time to do it.
And I think what we found out with the Third Avenue North project, if we've got to replace the poles and the transformers and things, burying it isn't a whole lot more. If the poles and everything were solid and didn't need to be replaced, we probably wouldn't look at it, but, okay. City treasurer position, that came to light when the fact that Mrs. Shabluski determined not to run for reelection, and nobody did apply for the position. So in checking out what our avenues were there, I understand that whoever would be the leading write-in candidate would be offered that position. And if they accept that position, that's our treasurer. If they don't, then it's up to us to determine what we want to do. We could go out and hire or whatever. Probably be a situation where we'd interview and go out and hire, which how you came on board in the first place, right, Linda, to begin with? Any questions on that?
What's the pay, what is it, pay or whatever, is that public?
I don't know, is it, it's public information,
Yeah.
yes.
It's $393 a month. So almost $400 a month.
Or however that was working.
It's
Not
not,
on the ballot.
it's not on the ballot or anything like that, no.
No.
You know, yeah, so,
Okay.
okay. Exempt permit for the Knights of Columbus, this is for their buffalo feed, coming up next spring, I'm assuming?
January.
Oh, in January already, okay. They've done this every year and we've approved this regularly.
I'll
Any
make the
questions?
motion.
I'll second it.
A motion made by Donnie, seconded by Lynn to approve the exempt permit for Knights of Columbus Buffalo Feed Raffle. All in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. The fire department hiring, I would thought we would have Mr. Rushlow here tonight, but he is not. So Bob, do you want to give us the update on that?
Sure. So at the fire meeting last Thursday, the officers want to move forward with hiring firefighters. Our current roster is at 26, which is kind of a key number, is where we try to keep it. So at this point, we want to hire, not exactly sure on how many we're going to hire, but we just want to kind of leave that open-ended. But we always got to kind of factor in for people leaving. So it's nice to hire a group, and then Little Falls is hiring at the same time now. So those two departments can go together on classes and kind of work through their firefighter 1 and firefighter 2 together. So kind of a time frame, we would advertise for 3 weeks, and the last advertisement would be October 2nd. We would close applications October 7th, review them, and then do interviews, and we'd have recommendations to the city council by October 24th, which is our second meeting in October. It's the time frame.
And you don't have a number on a max number?
We didn't do that last time either, and it actually worked out well, just to say that if we have 6 qualified candidates, for example, it might be best to, hire 6.
Okay.
But
And if we have
Just
3,
depends.
we go forward with 3.
Yeah.
I think the last time we had a decent-sized group of 5 or something.
We had 5, and it was a
5.
really good hiring group, and
Yeah, it was good. Turned out to be a good group, so. I think it works better that way, because we can have the flux in our number of firefighters anywhere from, 25, 26 to 30. And it works out good, so. Okay. We'll move forward with that. Morrison County Historical Society.
So I sent that email out today, and then there's 3 candidates for that board, and there's 3 positions open. So, I mean, it's, if anybody has any issues, I would just enter a vote because we're a member, so we're allowed to vote. But also just kind of throwing it out there that if people are interested, members of the community or the city council, I mean, that's something that may benefit the city, so there's no,
Do you know who the 3 members are off the top of your head? I had asked, didn't I?
I have them here somewhere. It's in that latest email.
I'm on it here, Donnie, but it's one of these.
I didn't recognize any names, but
Okay. Got to get that. But why should I look it up when he can't?
Yeah, it was a separate thing.
Oh, it was, okay. Oh, okay, it was a late email? I don't know any of them either, so. Okay, so do you need a motion on that, Bob, or
no, that's fine. I'll just move forward if nobody has any.
unless anybody's got an objection or question on it? All right, which takes us to department heads. Mr. Eric Hennigan, our police chief, is with us tonight with some updating and some big news.
Good evening, everybody. We all know back when Kelvin resigned from his position, we opened up for a full-time officer. When I say we, the police commission, myself, went through interviews back in April, and I've been patiently waiting on certain information to come from back the state of Minnesota. I finally received them, and so I'd like to move forward to get the council approved to move forward with my preliminary background on Mr. Preston Rushlow for the full-time position of police officer for the city of Pierz. He's agreed to the position. The amount that we agreed to that evening was $20.50. So pending his background, I just need you guys to say yes, so I can start the background tomorrow, which will take a couple weeks, and then come back to you with my findings, and finally have another officer on board with the city of Pierz. So I'm just looking for a vote from the council, reference to how I should move forward. Any questions from me to represent the city? Before that, any questions from me about the interview process? I know many of you weren't there. We were lucky in Pierz. I think we ended up having a total of 8 or 9 applicants. Several of them were not qualified, but if you speak to anybody else in any other jurisdictions right now, they're lucky to get 1 application for the position of either police officer or chief. So we were lucky to what we had. We had some very good candidates, and I believe we, the police commission, myself, we picked the right candidate for the city of Pierz.
And Preston is just coming out of school. He's young, he's in the community. I think he'll do a great job. And yeah, now any other questions on that? If I would entertain a motion to move forward with the
I'll make the
background check
motion to-
process.
Proceed with the background check, and if everything checks out, to hire Preston at $20.50 an hour.
Motion,
$28.50, sorry,
2050.
I wrote it wrong. Screw you.
have him resign before he
Seeing if you're
starts.
listening.
I was listening.
Motion's been made by Lynn to approve the go-ahead with checking on the background for Mr. Preston Rushlow, and then proceed with hiring him as our police officer.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Donnie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Anything else, Eric?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Bob, back to you.
I haven't heard anything back yet as far as our insurance on the shop. I did have another meeting with Morrison County and FEMA regarding our shop. And basically, right now, we're on step 1 of 7. So we've entered our information into the Federal Register. And then the next step is to hear back from one of the case managers. And then we work actually one-on-one to fill the forms out. It's for our shop. I asked, there was a FEMA representative there, and I asked directly, and he couldn't give me a straight answer on if our insurance covers it. Will the city get above and beyond our insurance? He just said it's possible. So I feel like it's worth the time and energy to go through it. There's no guarantees though. So One other thing I wanted to mention, so revenue recapture is a program that we can use for our city utility system. It's been used in the past. We haven't done a lot with it just because Dion and I, starting 3 years ago from scratch, basically we're not familiar with it, but there was an audit done from the Minnesota Department of Revenue just on how we're doing the program, and there were some changes that were needed, so it was kind of a good jumpstart for Dion and myself to use it. So we're going to start using it a lot more than we had. So it was a good thing, I guess. Just a little on the campground. We were full this weekend again with the arts and crafts fair was part of that too, and next weekend's half full again. So I feel like we're picking up on some of that midweek and some of those peripheral weekends beyond Labor Day and Memorial Day. So that's been great. So other than that, I don't have anything else. So.
Any questions for Bob? Linda,
The checkbook,
treasurer's
the
report.
checkbook balanced with the statement for August 31st, 2022 was $2,688,451.18.
Any questions on that? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made by Lynn, seconded by?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Donnie and Jackie to approve the treasurer's report. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Claims?
$416,495.74.
Any questions on any of the claims?
I submitted my questions to Bob and he answered them.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the claims then.
Motion's been made by Kyle to approve the claims. Seconded.
I'll second.
Seconded by Jackie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried, opposed? Carried unanimously. Then I had said I had a couple of FYIs. My first FYI was, I was approached by a citizen, and Bob did get a call too today, on a survey that's going around that's been sent out on text messages to some people. It says, the message says it's from Dynata, DYNATA, is conducting a short survey on issues important to Pierz. Make sure your voice is heard. Then it tells you to click on the link, which is, a link. That is nothing the city has authorized. We know nothing about that. So I'm suspecting that's some type of a scam. So if anybody gets anything like that, I would highly recommend you not click on the link. I would think that would be the wrong thing to do. And I thank these people for bringing this to our attention, that received it. And everybody just kind of be a little careful of that if you would. The other FYI I had was just that we did get a thank you card from Linda's family. As some of you may know, we sent some flowers there. Linda's dad passed away last Saturday, I believe.
August 29th.
August 29th. So, and deepest sympathy, Linda. So, Park Complex Edition, we are moving along on that fine. We're starting to working on the fairways a little bit now. We got the tees and the greens pretty much ready until we start doing some irrigation and things yet this fall. We're hoping to run the main piping for the irrigation over there, and we'll get the greens and the tees all ready for spring harvest or spring, attacking them in the spring so we can get them seeded yet in the spring. Any questions on any of that?
When did they actually start digging that main pipe in? 'Cause that goes across number 2, right?
It will, but that won't be until after, it'll be October.
Okay.
So the goal is to do it after,
We have those golf tournaments coming up. I was
right,
wondering
no, it
what
won't
sort
be.
of- okay.
Yeah, once we get into middle of October, it really,
Right.
it doesn't matter much. So, but yeah. We have I believe 2 tournaments coming each of the next 2 weekends. We had one this last weekend, and we have 2 more coming the next 2 weekends, so, which is,
Football's coming up and that's the other one.
yep.
It doesn't matter, because cross-country does their,
September,
no, they have an October one, because we have.
yeah, October 15th,
Is
I
that what it
think.
is? The
I think
15th?
so. What's that?
Yep, and then there's another one later for when they start too.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it would be after that as well.
We'll be able to work
Yeah.
around that.
Yeah,
Around that?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Can have them run dirt hills.
Yeah, it's just, I mean,
They're
yeah, it's a
responding?
trench.
No.
They'd have to do we'd put a hurdle in it. So, yeah, we're aware of those events coming up, and we will work around them. But, yeah, we do have I mean, the tournaments are nice this time of the year. They really help carry a little bit. Any other questions? Anything else? If not, we would, I would look to, for a motion not to adjourn, but to close this meeting, and then we would go into a closed session, and then we would come back to open the meeting up and then adjourn. And that's all we do. So those of you that are leaving, thank you very much, and we won't do any other business after the closed meeting.
I'll make the motion to close the meeting then.
Motion's been made by Donnie to close the meeting. Seconded by?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Lynn. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously.